Yeah, and that's the best case scenario. You ruin your car.
Right.
The worst case is you get swept away and lose your life. So if that's the best case, you don't want to do that, because as soon as that muffler gets covered, we mentioned, and once you get water damage in your car, that is something that is not repairable in many instances. So just be careful out there. Thank goodness the rain is tapering off. We take a look outside up at Lake Norman right now. Your headlines and your impacts the next couple of days. The big story is going to be fewer storms. So some good news there. Less rain and storms, not zero though. We are going to see a couple tomorrow. Saturday, scattered storms return, and Sunday, hotter. And yes, believe it or not, more humid. A live look from our Dallas camera. You can see uptown off in the distance there, some clouds, but there you go. That is the full buck moon. That is the full moon here in the month of July. Gets that name because it's the time of year the bucks, the deer, the male deer, they start getting their antlers to poke out there. So you'll start to see them. I see them all over the yard doing that. It was actually full in the middle of the afternoon, but the moon didn't rise till 9:02. It's visible all night, so if you can't see it now because of the clouds, you get a view all the way through tomorrow morning. We still have some lingering showers out there. One moving right towards Noda right now. So this one's traveling right down 77, heading towards North Charlotte. And then another one moving through western parts of Lincoln County into northern Gaston County, heading there towards areas towards Trurville and then down towards Bessemer City and Kings Mountain. Another cluster out in Rockingham County, Richmond County, seeing the most rain this week of just about any area. They saw Chantal over the weekend and saw several rounds of rain this week. Low 90s tomorrow, so with the more sunshine, we'll see temperatures jump up a little bit. Again, a 30% chance of a pop-up storm. You see the storms dissipating tonight. That's likely fog tomorrow morning. Sunshine, one or two isolated showers, but a lot more sunshine tomorrow means a hotter day. Now, Saturday, I expect a few more storms, but still, all in all, kind of your typical summer pattern. We're going to get away from the more widespread, stronger storms. But again, remember, anytime we get a storm in the summer, lightning, flash flooding, localized flash flooding, always a possibility, though we're not expecting it to be widespread. Ooh, the air you can wear is back for the next couple of days. Maybe a little dip on Sunday, Monday, but pretty humid as we go through the next 7 days. In fact, the low levels will dry out a little bit tomorrow as the tropical moisture, that coral color, moves out of here. But notice it's surging back maybe as soon as Monday. So Monday's rain chances could be a little different than what we're going to see over the next couple of days. So when we see these rain chances jump back up as we go into Monday, I would definitely be prepared that some of those could have some localized heavy downpours because the atmosphere will be completely saturated once again. So weekend forecast, we'll keep a small chance of rain both days. Certainly going to be hotter on Sunday because of the lack of clouds and rain. That's the one thing that keeps you cool this time of year. The 7-day forecast shows temperatures staying pretty warm. We'll keep an eye on home matches for Charlotte FC Saturday and Wednesday. Both days, about 40-50% chance of a scattered shower. Watch out for that lightning, again, right around match time. The long-range 10-day forecast shows temperatures maybe slightly cooler, but that's because of more clouds and showers moving in by next weekend.
WCNC Charlotte is making a difference with your help. When you share your news tips, we go to work.
I sent you that email. 15 minutes later, you're responding to me.
When a Charlotte woman battling cancer lost her health coverage, we demanded answers.
Within hours of WCNC Charlotte asking questions, the agency responsible quickly corrected its mistake.
Let us get to work for you.
Reach out to news tips at WCNC.com. WCNC Charlotte, news that impacts you.
Question everything and verify with WCNC Charlotte. Taking questions, seeking experts for the answers, and sharing the knowledge to distinguish fact from fiction. WCNC Charlotte is guiding the way.
Good morning, and thanks for joining us live on WCNC Plus at 8:30. I'm Megan Bragg, in for Lisa.
And I'm Ben Thompson. Just in the last hour, we're learning new details about the victims injured in this massive fire at a South Charlotte apartment complex.
Yeah, we're also learning more about what may have caused it. WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards is live for us this morning. And Destiny, the age of these victims is heartbreaking.
Yeah, that's right. We did learn that of the 6 people injured, there were 4 adults and 2 children. One of them as young as 3 years old. So this is what we're looking at this morning. We did learn from fire officials that this is an accidental fire that started yesterday. So we do finally know the cause of the fire. But obviously, this is still a very trying time for people, not just the folks that were inside of this unit, but all the people who have now been displaced. Now, the Charlotte Fire Department says the calls started coming in about flames and thick black smoke just before 5:30 yesterday morning. We're told 11 people were inside the unit that burned, but 6 were injured, 4 adults with ages ranging from 19 to 60 years old, and 2 minors, a 13-year-old and a 3-year-old. They were all hospitalized for serious burns. The fire woke up residents in the middle of the night, many of them having to run out with just the clothes on their back. Take a listen.
Well, I was sleeping and then I just heard like a loud sound, like an explosion. I came outside to the porch and I just saw a bunch of smoke.
And it's devastating to just think about the cost of living too, and having to replace all your stuff, and on top of that your medical bills, and now you don't have a secure place to stay.
So right now we know that at least 20 units have been impacted, and you can see the sign behind me. The building is deemed unsafe according to the Charlotte Fire Department. Again, we know now that the cause of this fire is accidental. We know 11 people were in this unit. We only know about the 6 who were injured. Again, 4 adults and 2 minors. So again, they were all hospitalized yesterday with serious burns. We also know that of the people impacted by this fire, the Red Cross is helping them find somewhere to stay. Ben, Megan.
And Destiny, it sounds like there might be some spare apartments there at the complex where some of these people might be able to go.
Right. Yeah, we heard from obviously residents yesterday who were coming back to salvage what they could, and they said that Red Cross and the apartment were hopefully going to help them get into some vacant units that were spare and available. But I forgot to mention, we did earlier speak also with a man who just came back to his apartment. It only received minimal damage. There was just some smoke on the ceiling. He said of his smoke alarm that it did go off. It was a little bit delayed though, because he said whenever he came out of the apartment, he's in the back left part of this unit. He said when he came out, the flames were already engulfing the stairs, and these were the only stairs that he could come down. But it was just, it was well enough that he was fine to just come down the stairs safely. You can see that the stairs aren't completely burned up, so he was able to do that. But obviously he said there are a lot of people who have lost everything. So he hasn't heard about any next steps for his apartment. He doesn't believe that he's going to have to relocate. He's really kind of in the limbo. But of the other residents we heard from, they are going to have to find next steps. And it looks like the Red Cross in the apartment is going to be stepping up. But hopefully we'll hear about some more information about what is going to happen moving forward.
Destiny Richards reporting live for us. Destiny, thank you.
Well, we know several neighbors in that apartment complex tell us they didn't hear smoke alarms go off at all. So tonight, we're asking if North Carolina law requires everyone to have a smoke alarm to go off, specifically in the event of a fire at an apartment complex. WCNC Charlotte's Megan Bragg verifies.
This morning on WCNC Plus, we asked reporter Richard Devane if neighbors heard their smoke detectors go off.
Excuse me, did your smoke detector go off? Did your smoke detector go off? We're going to find out from her. She said no. And the other neighbors I spoke to said they were asleep. They were not waking up by smoke detectors. They were actually awakened by the fire crews.
So to find out if this is required, we went to North Carolina Residential Building Code and the National Fire Alarm and Signal Code. According to NC Residential Building Code, apartments built or remodeled after 1999 require smoke alarms within a single unit be interconnected. This means if your smoke alarm goes off in your kitchen, it should trigger the alarm in your bedroom. However, there are no legal requirements for your smoke detector to go off when your neighbor's alarm sounds. According to the National Fire Alarm and Signaling Code, a manual fire alarm system that notifies occupants throughout the building should be installed if the unit is 3 stories above the ground or if the building has more than 16 units. The exception to that second part is if it's a 1 to 2 story apartment building with direct exits and fire-rated walls or sprinklers. With your Verify, I'm Megan Bragg.
Tonight, LGBTQ plus advocates are raising alarms after a specialized support option through the National Suicide Hotline is set to end next week.
Funding for LGBTQ plus specific counseling linked to 988 was recently cut. WCNC Charlotte's Anna King joining us live tonight. And Anna, you spoke with mental health leaders who say this decision could have some dangerous consequences.
Yeah, the LGBTQ plus services have been a part of 988 since 2022. It was meant to serve as a safe space for that community. But now with this option being eliminated, advocates feel this could be a step backwards.
The federal government is sending this message that we should not be here.
Since 2022, the LGBTQ plus line through 988 has handled over 300,000 calls, texts, and chats. But on July 17th, the program is ending. Now those calls will be redirected to the main hotline. The move comes as mental health experts say they're seeing a much higher demand, as they say LGBTQ plus communities are facing ongoing discrimination.
You need folks who understand the communities that they're working with and serving. And that's true for every marginalized group of folks. You can't just say one size fits all and dump everybody into the same queue.
Callers will still be able to reach the main 988 line, but without a guarantee of speaking to an affirming counselor. As the program winds down, organizations say they're working to fill the gap, but say a federal commitment to LGBTQ inclusive care is needed now more than ever.
We've been here for 25 years and we plan to be here for 25 more. But this program drastically increased our capacity, and losing this will mean cutting our capacity.
Yeah, and those organizations say if anyone is in need of resources, they're happy to direct them on where to go. Live here in Charlotte, Anna King, WCNC Charlotte.
All right, Anna, thank you for that report.
A frightening reminder of Mother Nature's power struck close to home when a 40-year-old man was hit by lightning. That incident happened about 24 hours ago in Iredell County. The man is expected to be just fine, but this incident serves as a reminder about lightning safety. We're going to bring in WCNC Charlotte's Miles Harris joining us live tonight with tips from experts. We hear it all the time from meteorologists, Miles, that if you hear it, thunder roars, go indoors.
Absolutely there, Colin. And really, I mean, this incident happened here again in Iredell County along Branton Road, but it also highlights a deadly threat that many people may not take seriously. Lightning strikes are more common than many people realize, and the concern from health experts like Dr. Matthew Sabatini, people waiting too long to get inside.
Take shelter if possible. You know, you should see the warning signs, you'll see the clouds, you'll hear the thunder.
According to the National Weather Service, lightning kills about 20 people each year in the United States and injures hundreds more. WCNC Charlotte's meteorologist Brittany Van Voorhees breaks down the dangers of being around certain objects when storms roll through.
Lightning is attracted to the highest object, but metal just so happens to be a conductor of electricity.
Dr. Sabatini says lightning strikes can impact more than just where you were hit.
Lightning strikes can affect the whole body. You know, the most serious strikes that we worry about can cause cardiac arrest, you know, whether that be the heart stopping, the lungs stopping, you know, you stop breathing.
Experts stress the best ways to minimize your risk of being struck by lightning are to stay informed and plan ahead.
It's that time of the year, so take those precautions to protect you and your family.
Colin, and experts say also add that it's better to become overly cautious than to become a statistic, and no outdoor activity is actually worth risking your life for. And when in doubt, seek shelter and wait it out. Reporting live here in Iredell County, I'm Miles Harris, WCNC Charlotte.
Heavy rains with storms that just sit over certain areas. They cause flooding, just like what we saw this week. Tonight, WCNC Charlotte's Siobhan Riley speaking with some neighbors in the Oakhurst community who say they've been dealing with water issues, flooding issues for more than a decade.
This is where it is! It's coming into our house!
A Charlotte woman who lives in the Oakhurst community who wants to remain anonymous sent me this video capturing the last time she experienced severe flooding in her backyard, June 12th. She says it happened so quickly. She says this is what her backyard looked like 4 minutes prior.
It was up into here. I mean, look at that creek. It's that big and that deep. That was, you know, 8 foot deep probably.
Byron York, who also lives in the neighborhood, says the recent flooding is the worst he's seen in the 10 years he's lived here.
Neighbors say at one point the water got so high that it came over this bridge. Their biggest fear is finding snakes in their yard, and they want the city to take action.
It came up in a matter of less than an hour and was going over the bridge in the back and came up the furthest into my yard I've ever seen it.
After a resident reached out to the city sent her this statement. It reads in part, "The storm occurring June 12th exceeded the threshold for which the city of Charlotte designed systems for. However, the channel behind your home is currently in the city's ranking system for further evaluation due to a previous request."
It's frustrating. I have to clean up the yard or I have to pay my yard guy to clean it up.
In Charlotte, Siobhan Riley, WCNC Charlotte.
Tonight, a man is in jail after kidnapping the same woman twice. Despite a protection order and a previous arrest, Union County deputies say her ex-boyfriend Logan William Calloway came back, but this time with a knife. WCNC Charlotte's Tradisha Woodard breaks down how investigators raced the clock to bring her home.
A young woman was kidnapped and forced to relive the trauma she had already survived. And though the suspect managed to get out of jail the first time, the Union County Sheriff's Office is determined to keep him this time.
It's a terrifying case of deja vu in Union County.
We would consider Logan a very dangerous offender.
A woman was kidnapped by the same man accused of violently abducting her just weeks ago. Her ex-boyfriend, Logan Williams Calloway.
Within a 30 to 60 day time frame, he has accrued numerous felony charges, including multiple counts of kidnapping the same victim while there's an active domestic violence protection order against him.
When Calloway was arrested last month, his bond was set at only $45,000, but not this time.
He's been held under $1 million bond because we take domestic violence very seriously. It's a very justified bond in this case based on the severity of the offenses, which the most severe of those being attempted first-degree murder.
I spoke with a domestic violence advocate who says this isn't an isolated case. Sometimes restraining orders just aren't enough.
Some perpetrators do see it as just a piece of paper. The most dangerous time for a victim is when they decide to leave.
They say they're hoping this incident serves as a sign for someone in need of help, because giving your abuser a second chance may just be your last.
No one's going to come save you, but you can save yourself. And sometimes it's just taking those little steps of maybe talking to someone about it, talking to someone that you trust, that you can leave important documents with, or you can stash money with. It's these little steps that we can take over time that can get us to safety.
Tradisha Woodard, WCNC Charlotte.
Speaking of grants, the philanthropic efforts for the victims from the Texas flooding in Hill Country remain, and they will continue into the foreseeable future. I want to go to a live press conference right now out of Texas, where this is the Community Foundation of the Texas Hill Country. They're making a significant announcement on disaster relief efforts following last week's historic flooding. Let's listen in live.
Foundation of the Texas Hill Country has received more than $30 million through the Kerr County Flood Relief Fund. This is an incredible philanthropic response, gifts offered in the spirit of compassion and community to support those impacted by the disaster. There are so many people to thank, but a few I'd like to call out by name. We are grateful to our hometown grocery store, founded in Kerrville, Texas in 1905, HEB, for their $2 million donation to the Community Foundation and to our fund. Their volunteers have jumped in to provide on-the-ground hot meals, cleaning supplies, gift cards, water, and volunteer support, and we're grateful to our local grocer. We're also grateful to another company we're proud to call Kerrville home, and that's the James Avery Artisan Jewelry Company, with its donation of $500,000. We're also grateful to one of our banking partners, Broadway Bank, which has converted all of its branches across its entire region into Kerr County Flood Relief Fund donation centers. We're also grateful to the San Antonio Area Foundation, our peer community foundation in San Antonio, whose CEO is sitting with us today. They have provided pro bono staff support in all functions of Community Foundation work to take on the volume of donations and work for today and the road ahead. Thank you, Nadej. We're also grateful to the Austin Community Foundation for its partnership. We're also grateful to the Communities Foundation of Texas, located in Dallas, who has also offered staff support, and we've been utilizing it heavily. I would also like to thank the Community Foundation staff, its Board of Trustees, and all of our volunteers who have answered the call and joined us in responding to the philanthropic response. I would also like to thank all of the first responders in our community, both local and who have traveled from very far to search for our missing children and search for our family members and keep us reunited and safe. This moment has certainly brought out the best in people. Can we give our community a round of applause, please? We at the Community Foundation understand the importance of helping people quickly after a disaster. So today I am pleased to announce $5 million in initial grants distributed across 4 areas of need, all to local organizations doing work on the ground today. We're making $1.25 million in grants available for direct support to individuals and families. This is cash assistance and food to people in need, to put money, gift cards, rent assistance, utility assistance, and other emergency needs in their hands starting today. We're also granting $1.25 million to local businesses, both in the form of no-interest loans and in the form of emergency cash grants to sustain our small businesses who have payrolls with local residents who need those funds to keep their living and their household together. We're also donating $1.25 million directly to first responder agencies, and we'll hear more from them in a minute. They need tools, they need supplies, they need unrestricted grant funds, and that's what we're delivering to them today. We're also donating $1.25 million in crisis response. We're making a $450,000 grant to Schreiner University, who has converted its entire campus into emergency operations and dorm center for first responders. It is operating 24 hours a day. It is feeding people. It is housing people. It is reuniting families with loved ones. It is doing so much and so many others. This is only the beginning. This community, this region, and this state is not ready for the power of philanthropy that is coming to this town. We are going to do so much good because we are from Texas, and Texans step up and we handle it. These funds will be given to more than 20 nonprofits today. You can see the full list of nonprofits on our website, and you'll hear from a few of our grantees shortly on how they plan to use the funds today. They will talk about how people in our community can access these much-needed funds today. During times of disaster, it is critically important for philanthropy and community to work in partnership with government. So I am honored to introduce our United States Congressman, Chip Roy.
Real quick here at 10:12, you can see President Trump with First Lady Melania Trump just leaving Marine One. They will board Air Force One and head to Texas to survey the damage and destruction there from the Hill Country flooding as we listen in live on a press conference out of Kirk County and the continuing disaster relief efforts by communities there.
My kids, when they were little, that's where we took them and where we'd be swimming and we'd be hanging out on the 4th of July. This is a center part to a time when people from all over the state, from frankly all over the country, come to this part of the country to celebrate. And we know what happened a week ago, and that tragedy is something that's going to stick with us for a very long time. It's one of the hardest things I've certainly ever had to do in my life. last Sunday when I was here and I was going out and visiting. I mean, right up here, I had some of my college classmates picking up their little girls after they'd been evacuated and brought right up here. In fact, I met them right here in this pavilion. But this is what we're seeing right now this morning from the Community Foundation. That's who we are as Texans. And I want this to be a model for the entire country, a model for the world, what it means when people of faith, people of conviction stand up to help their fellow neighbors and to help their communities. What you're seeing with the local companies, HEB, James Avery, is extraordinary. And you don't want to single those two out. There's so many that have stepped up to the plate. My phone's been ringing off the hook in D.C. from corporations in D.C. that have stepped to the plate and have contributed and have been a big part of the funds of the $30 million that Austin's talking about, and that number is going to grow. The fact that in 1 week, $5 million has already been distributed and granted through this organization is a testament to the competence and also the heart and the spirit of the Community Foundation and why it's such a great organization and why it's so important that the dollars continue to flow. People are all focused on this right now, but this is going to be happening in 2 weeks, in a month, in 6 months, in a year. We need this to continue. And so I ask for everybody.
Now with Apple bidding on streaming F1 rights, there's a lot of fervor for Formula One right now, not just in America, but I think all across the globe. So we brought in with the Lego Group Molly Martin, who just flew into town less than 24 hours ago, Molly?
Yeah, this morning actually.
Okay. So hopefully Charlotte's been giving you a good welcome. I've got so many questions. Good. What's your favorite part so far? I mean, you probably haven't seen too much.
I mean, I saw the skyline
when
I was coming from the airport.
People always talk about the skyline. Look at you.
I'm staying downtown, so I'm really excited to just go explore a bit.
Yeah, okay.
I haven't ever been here, so this is my first time, and I am so stoked.
That's awesome. I had never been here before I moved here either, so.
It's beautiful, though.
It is. It's got a lot of trees, great people, and you might like it so much you might end up staying, but. Where'd you fly from?
Call my husband. Tell him I'm coming down here now.
Okay. Where are you guys based in?
I'm in Connecticut.
Okay.
But our headquarters is in Boston. We just moved up there, so we're really excited about that shift. Okay. And all of our employees are moving up there now.
Yeah. Well, let's dive into the nitty gritty. The activation started today, right?
It did.
In South Park?
Yep, right over at Symphony Park.
Okay.
Yep.
So not far, a beautiful area. How did the first day go? We'll get into the other stuff.
I mean, amazing.
Yeah.
We showed up and our start time was 10 a.m.
Okay.
And in the first hour, we had 400 people come through, which is insane.
I'm not
We're
surprised.
so excited, though. I mean, this is what it's about. It's about bringing families and kids to the shared experience.
Yeah.
They probably have a love for the brand already, or maybe they're really interested in exploring what their love could look like with the Lego brand and building. So we were just really thrilled that they came by, and it was a steady flow throughout the day, so it was great.
Well, do you have any job openings? Maybe I could.
If you go to lego.com/careers, you definitely can take a look.
I've got too much Formula One knowledge in this head not to work for F1 or the Lego Group at some point. But anyway, so excited to get down there. I know you guys have a pit stop challenge for the family there. And really, I wanted to kind of center on for a second. If people remember the Miami race not too long ago, about 2 months or so ago, before the actual race weekend, you guys were there. You set up 10 different cars built over hundreds of thousands of hours that actually were able to move. And the Formula One drivers, 2 of them from each team, were in these cars. It was astonishing to watch. Were you there firsthand seeing this?
I was.
Talk about that experience.
It was incredible. I think what you saw was pure joy from these drivers, and there was probably a little bit of nostalgia that came back for them.
Yeah.
Maybe they grew up playing with Lego bricks, and it just brought back maybe a memory of theirs to be able to sit in a car made out of 400,000 Lego pieces, designed by our amazing model shop team over in Cladno. I mean, it was just insane. The people in the crowds too were loving it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's really important, is just seeing that like there's a shared love and a shared opportunity to experience something like magical with the Lego brand. Maybe you're in the stands, maybe you're a part of it, but what's really great is this experience that we have can bring the magic of racing home to you with Lego building.
Well, and it speaks to that because I was able to build this with my 2-year-old. So this is the actual SF24 from last year. It doesn't take very long to build. I did most of it. My son, who's 2, basically just wanted to throw around the pieces. So thankfully I didn't lose any.
That's great.
But it was super cool to see the actual life-size car on the track in Miami. So that was really cool. But like I said, I've got to know the nuts and bolts of the logistics of this, because you said 400,000 pieces plus, and it's got to mean that people are working hundreds of thousands of hours on this, right? Or is that too much?
It's a little much.
It's a little
but
drama,
it's
Colin. All right.
22,000 hours.
Okay.
So it's probably about
That's
1,200
crazy,
hours
though.
per car.
Yeah.
But it's a team of like 10 plus people constantly working on this, and they are so skilled in being super detail oriented, ensuring that it's true replica or close to it of a one-to-one race car. And I think just the magic of them being able to drive around the track fully,
I agree,
was just unbelievable. We were so excited about it.
How are they powered? It's not gas, right?
It's
electric?
battery.
Okay.
Yeah. So we had a little bit of a battery motor in there.
That's cool.
But the shell of it.
Yeah.
And then if you come down to the experience, we have our Lego F1 Red Bull race car there on display. And actually the tires are the real tires that they use on the cars.
I can't wait.
So it's really exciting. Those are not made out of Lego bricks, but the entire
they're massive.
component of it is.
They're massive.
They are.
Yeah, it's really hard to put into perspective unless you go and see this in person or go to a race in person, because you saw the Formula One cars up close and personal. I think people would be shocked at how light they are because they're made out of carbon fiber, right? You can literally push them with 1 or 2 hands. So
these are a little bit heavier.
These are a little bit heavier, but still, it's still a feat of imagination, truly, to see these people. Now, are these individuals creators or engineers, might I say, or?
I think they come from all different backgrounds.
Okay.
We have designers, we have engineers.
Wow.
I mean, some people have not even stepped in that realm. And they just come from a different background.
Just have passion for it.
And they just had a passion for it.
That's cool.
They got into the Lego group and built up the skills and experience to build something like this. We have such skilled people at the Lego group. And it's magical to sit with all these amazing folks. They're intelligent and they just have a really unique shared passion. I know I keep saying that, but it's true. Like everyone somehow is connected to the Lego brand, and I think that's what makes it really, really awesome.
I think it's super cool. And I always harken back to the Lego structures at Disney Spring, because we were there about 2 years ago. My kids were like, no way. So I'm really excited to see their reaction to this weekend's event when we get to go as well. I guess the question is also, how did you guys dream of this in terms of making these cars as lifelike as possible? Because they've got floor fences. I mean, they even have, the rain light on the back. They've got the T-cam on top. I mean, all of it is there. So does it start with on the drawing board with these things?
Yeah, and it's a really true partnership with F1.
Okay.
I mean, the engineers and the designers over there worked really closely with our team over in Billund. And like I shared before, our team of designers are so detail oriented. We want to make sure that what you're purchasing and what you're grabbing on the shelf is a true replica of what you're seeing in real life, because that's what people want, So we make sure that it's a true vision that comes to life within the product, which is really awesome.
I love that. Let's talk about the activation itself, because I haven't gotten to that yet. I'm sorry. There's a race lab where you can build and customize a mini Lego race car. That's number one. Got a wind tunnel where you can test that car. That's awesome. You can take a photo with or get your Lego F1 driver's license, which everyone's going to love. You can race your car. You can test your skills in that pit lane challenge. What else am I missing? Is there other stuff there too?
So we have a full display of all the products, and I think that's really good to share with people, because some folks don't know that we have items that range from Duplo, which is our 0 to 3, and then it goes all the way up to 18 plus.
Yep.
So you'll find F1 specific race things that are spanning across all of our assortment.
Oh, wow.
And I think that's really great because if you have, a young toddler that can't necessarily play with the Lego system brick yet, it's the smaller pieces, and they want something that's a little bit more tangible, their hands can handle.
Yep.
It's the bigger Duplo brick, and I think that's really, really unique and special.
I love that.
I did bring some little fun visuals.
Look at that.
So this is one of the little mini race cars that you can
Alpine,
build.
right?
I mean,
after Alpine?
I just picked pink.
Okay.
But what I love about it too,
Generic.
we have the orange one too.
Okay.
We have build instructions at the tables.
Yeah.
But what I love about it is that kids can design it the way they want. They can add their different colors. They
That's
can
cool.
make their new team. They can replicate something from a team that they love already in the F1 space. So it's really about customization and building something that you are excited to race down our Thrill City circuit. So.
Yeah, my daughter. I have a 10-year-old daughter who is just starting because I have the F1 channel on all the time, and she is just starting to get thrilled by that stuff too. So I'm really excited to see her get involved because I showed her the F1 Academy series, so I'm super excited to get involved in that. But it's great to see that you guys are providing access to folks because this is a motorsport community. So I'm sure that's probably why you saw such fan fervor for this activation to come. And this is a free experience, by the way.
It is.
I can't believe that.
Yes, we just wanted to bring the thrill of racing
Yeah.
to a place that already has that fandom and a place that maybe the Lego group doesn't always necessarily come to.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important. We want families to have this shared experience with their kids. They might have a passion for F1 or maybe their kids do.
Yeah.
And they're each bringing them into that space and that fandom. And it's important for us to provide an opportunity where there's just endless possibilities. And when you step in there, we don't want you to have to pay for that. We want you to just be able to experience it.
Yeah.
And what's great is we're really close to a Lego store. So if you're like, hey, I love this, I actually want to go grab this.
Yep.
We're right over at South Park Mall.
That's where I got this thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we were in there. My little backstory. My wife is getting our daughter's ears pierced, and then I was like, I gotta stop in. I've been wanting the SF24, and so like I said, my 2-year-old was like, he wanted to build it with me. So it was fun. It was, and I think you were talking about the nostalgia. Like I grew up with Legos. Like they were everything to me. I went through a period where I kind of forgot about it, right? Because you're in that transition period in terms of a young adult, and then you kind of get back to it in some sense. And I gotta say, I'm sure sales were not slumping, but I'm sure this has really helped put Lego in the forefront of people's minds because tapping into that Formula One brand right now is so needed.
Yeah. And it's like you said, it's a fandom. It's this space that people are crazy over.
Yeah.
And rightfully
Truly.
so.
Truly.
It's amazing. It's
It
a
really
great
is.
sport to watch.
Yeah.
And I think us being able to provide a different outlet to bring the race home if you're not able to go to an actual F1 race is really important. And I think that's why we were excited to bring this to Charlotte. We're going to a few other locations after this.
Okay.
And we're really, really pleased that we're able to do something like this for the community.
Yeah, I could talk about this all night, but I won't. I won't do it all night because I know you just got in. I do have to ask: were you able to meet Sir Lewis Hamilton or any other drivers during the Miami race?
Sadly, I wasn't.
I was going to shake your hand if so.
I wish so much that I was able to.
Ferrari's my team.
But I got to see them from afar.
Okay.
So
that was probably enough.
Yeah,
that's all I would need to see too.
Yeah,
so.
exactly.
And the race itself, the sprint race was spectacular that year, that day. But again, just real quick, going back to that action on the track. I had heard that you guys had told the drivers not to be bumping the cars. Is that true? Is that true?
I actually don't know if
right.
anyone's shared that.
Because they would do a lot of bumping
they did.
on the track.
I think, of course, we wanted to make sure that Lego pieces weren't all over the track, which ended up happening.
Yes.
But I think we tend to try not to destroy big builds like that.
Right.
Because we obviously want to repurpose them and reuse them. Bring them to other places like Charlotte.
Yeah.
But I think the pure joy of the drivers took away all of that uneasiness maybe from our team. And we were just like, this is so great that
awesome.
they're enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
we will rebuild if we need to.
Yeah, things got a little nutty at the end there,
Yeah.
but it was fun. It was fun to watch.
They had such a good time.
They did. They had a great time. And actually, Max Verstappen was in the car that you will see down in South End. He's got a lot of fans around here. It was cool. It sounded like some of those guys wanted to do that race actually in another venue. So I wonder if that's going to be, you probably can't tell us, but I'm hoping that maybe we'll see.
My lips are sealed.
All right, Lego cars on track at some point again. Awesome. Well, what else am I missing here? Because like I said, Formula One is really in a heyday, I would say, with the movie being out, you guys being in town. Is there anything else that really comes to mind just to make sure that people come out? It begins tomorrow at 10 a.m., right?
10 a.m.
Okay.
Yeah, we
Earlier
saw
the better?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say earlier the better, and also coming before maybe 6 p.m.
Okay.
I know we had shared previously it's like 10 to 7, but we're capping the line at 6, so that way the people who are still in that line can actually go through the experience by the time we have to close.
Okay.
So I would highly encourage people to come down as early as possible.
Got it.
The lines were a little long today, but we're trying to get people in as quickly as possible,
Love
but
that.
still giving them the really great experience that they're expecting.
Yeah. So 10 starting tomorrow and on Sunday as well?
On Sunday too.
There we go.
All weekend.
Yeah, so 10 o'clock is the perfect starting time, so you can still get to church, maybe early church, and then head over to 4400 Sharon Road. It sounds like also with this like pit stop, explain the pit stop challenge, because in my mind, I'm seeing like a car pull up, right? Take the wheels off, and you've got like the gun. But that's
We did a little different interpretation of
Okay.
the pit lane challenge.
Okay.
So actually, when you go into the experience, you'll see this big board that has all these buttons on it, and you'll be timed on how quickly you can use your motor skills
That's
to hit the
sweet.
buttons and stuff. So it's really about the fast-paced environment
Right.
of having to change a tire and stuff, not necessarily doing those things.
Yeah.
But I think it's still fun for kids.
Heck yeah.
Kids were loving it today. Kids were like, I want to do this again and beat my time and see
Yeah.
if I can go faster.
Yeah.
So it's really great. We also have a graffiti wall, so in case you're just like a parent that's waiting for their child to get their F1 license, which I also have here, really
Look at
fun,
that.
exciting. This is
That's cool.
our colleague Austin. He let me use his.
That's awesome.
But it's printed out. It's really fun. But there's a graffiti wall, so you can just add free building that you want and add to the experience of the whole Build the Thrill.
I love that.
Over the weekend, so it's great.
Where else? Will you guys be headed anywhere else in North Carolina other than Charlotte, or are you guys leaving after this weekend?
We're leaving after this weekend,
okay.
sadly.
All
I
right.
know,
All right.
I know.
Maybe
We'll be
bring-
making our way over to Chicago
Cool.
in late August.
Okay.
It's over Labor Day weekend.
Okay.
And then if you happen to be at one of the races for the United States, we will also be in Austin and Las Vegas.
Ooh, CODA. That's a great race, and the Las Vegas is one of the newer ones on the circuit as well, and that always leads to a good race as well.
Yes.
So, yeah, two races that are on a lot of people's calendar to go and see. Other than Miami race, have you taken in any other races?
I haven't.
Okay.
I was supposed to go to Montreal last year, and
Yeah.
my
Is that
travel
everybody's?
changed, and I was really sad because I wanted to go to that one, and I was also supposed to go to Austin, but I couldn't make it.
Okay.
This year I will be at Austin though, so I'm very excited.
Good.
I just started getting into Formula One after the Miami thing.
Okay.
I binged watched Drive to Survive.
What do you
that
think?
Was really amazing.
Yeah, it's good.
Just great.
It's good.
It
yeah.
keeps you on your toes.
Yeah, I mean, the last couple of seasons, some of the drama was played up, and I get it. The first couple of seasons, though, you were able to really get involved and really understand the technique behind it, which I really loved. So.
It was great.
It's so good to have you here. I really appreciate your time. I know it's been a long day, and it will be a long weekend, but I think there's a lot of excitement for this, and I'm sure you guys are seeing that, so that's cool.
Yeah. Thanks so much for having me.
Of course. Anything else, Molly, before I let you go, that makes sense to talk about, bring to fruition again? Anything else you want to talk to us about?
I think we just want to invite as many families down as possible.
We can do
Come
that.
build the thrill with us.
Yeah.
Bring the race home. If you're not able to go to F1, we have something for everyone.
Okay.
You can explore all the things that the Lego brand has, and we're just excited that people want to come have a shared experience over
Yeah.
the weekend with us. So come on down.
We will.
We're here.
And we certainly hope you guys come back again, honestly.
Yes,
So
we do too.
Awesome. Well, Molly, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And thank you to the Lego Group for allowing you to spare some time to hang out with us as well. And please thank your colleagues as well, because I know it's not going to be cool outside this weekend. So
Yes. We'll stay hydrated.
yes. And I know you guys take precautions for everybody that comes as well. So thank you
Yes.
for that too.
Yes, of course.
Awesome.
Thank you
All right,
so
Molly.
much.
Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow,
Thanks.
hopefully. Awesome. All right, guys, we are going to continue our stream. We've got a couple of other situations that we are watching right now. Jeb, I'm going to pull this up here in a second. Any ideas on what we're going to go to, I think, the president right now, who is speaking in Kerrville, Texas, looking at some of the damage from the recent flooding. We'll go to this now.
Well, this is a tough one. And we just were making a little tour of the area. It's hard to believe the devastation. Trees that are 100 years old just ripped out of the ground. I've never seen anything like it. I've seen a lot of bad ones. I've gone to a lot of hurricanes, a lot of tornadoes. I've never seen anything like this. This is a bad one. We just visited with incredible families that, I mean, look, they've been devastated. They lost their child or two children, and just hard to believe what, I've never seen anything like it. A little narrow river that becomes a monster, and that's what happened. But the First Lady and I are here in Texas to express the love and support and the anguish of our entire nation in the aftermath of this really horrific and deadly flood. Nobody has any idea how and why a thing like this could happen. It's, and by the way, I have to tell you, the people here, first responders, the sheriff's office, all of the police, law enforcement, they've done an unbelievable job. And in speaking to the parents, they said everybody has been so professional, from the governor to the senators, all the way down to the local people on the site that really are a little bit used to this. But they've been looking at this for years, but in much smaller doses, much smaller doses. 12 years ago, and then 1932, they had a real bad one, but that bad one was half of what this was. But I was speaking to some of the great people in the town, and they said, no, every year we get a little bit, but it was like a little bit of a flood, right? You were telling me, and it was just a flood. We got used to it. We had people, and we took care of it, and this year it was like, what's going on, right? So all across the country, Americans' hearts are shattered. I had to be here as president. First Lady wanted to be here. And, all the beautiful souls, and we're filled with grief and devastation. The loss of life. And unfortunately, they're still looking. They're still looking. There's a lot of missing children, possibly, mostly, we don't know. But they're still looking. And they'll find everybody, but it's not an easy thing. You would think it would be easy. It's very tough. I looked at what they're going through, what they have to do. But dozens and dozens of precious children taken from us with such, I looked at the pictures of almost all of them, and it's terrible. Following a torrential downpour, the worst that anyone's ever seen, Guadalupe River rose 26 feet in less than 45 minutes, and I've even heard it went well over 30 feet. There's one story that one person said it had to be 60 feet at one moment. This is like a giant wave in the Pacific Ocean that the best surfers in the world would be afraid to surf. And it unleashed a catastrophic flooding as most residents were asleep in their beds. A very dark evening. The waters claimed at least 135, 140 lives. They're getting that count, but the count that they don't have is how many are still missing. But a lot of lives, a lot of young angels. At the Girls Christian Summer Camp, known as Camp Mystic, a legendary camp, a camp that people would want to go to from all over the country. People, parents, they come and they would stay with their children. They'd stay in other cabins just to be with their children, but a legendary place. They were there because they loved God And as we grieve this unthinkable tragedy, we take comfort in the knowledge that God has welcomed those little, beautiful girls into his comforting arms in heaven. And we believe that, have to believe that, and we do. And we lost some wonderful people beyond the little girls. We lost some very brave men and women that tried to save the girls. As our nation, we mourn for every single life that was swept away in the flood, and we pray for the families that are left behind. It's amazing the incredible spirit from those families. I don't know. I don't even know how they do it. But moments ago, Melania and I spent a lot of time with them. That's why we're a little late. I think this was a good reason to be late, frankly. And we just gave our warmest condolences. But you say to yourself, you know, how do you give condolences? How do you do that to a young person that 3 days ago was here, 4 days ago was here and vibrant, and now is no longer here? The search for the missing continues. The people that are doing it are unbelievable people. That you couldn't get better people than this anywhere, Christy, right? Anywhere in the world, you couldn't get better people. And they're doing the job like I don't think anybody else could, frankly. And I want to thank them. I want to thank all of these great first responders who raced into very grave danger. We have some people that were incredible. The single Coast Guard rescue crew saved an incredible 169 children at Camp Mystic, 169. And the camp staff was also incredibly courageous. Are those Coast Guard people around here someplace? Because I hear some incredible people. And I actually, Scott Ruskin, is he around? Where's Scott?
He's not here right now, sir, but he will be here later, and I will be.
Oh, okay. Well, you let him know.
With some,
and John Dunn, the owner of the Hunt store, was a flood. Where are you? Okay, good. We spoke a little while ago, and it sort of John was telling me some stories about that store, and it was just really amazing.
Yes, Mr. President. First, let me correct. I was owner of the Hunt store from 2013 till April of last year, where I actually sold the store to Haley and BB Lehrman, who are excellent operators, and they're on the ground right now in Hunt, leading the effort there together with the fire department, the churches, the schools, what have you. And they're doing a phenomenal job.
Good job.
My role in it is I had seller finance the deal, and
you're going to bring it back?
I'm absolutely going to bring it back.
And the walls are up. The two walls are up, and you're going to.
There's belief out there that it was a total loss. It's not. A gentleman by the name of Larry Graham put up some incredible walls in 1973. And he's a great engineer, and those walls are still standing.
Save the walls.
Save the walls.
Okay.
And the goal is, and I think we can get it done, between Haley, BB, myself, and some outside help that we're going to be getting, I think we're going to get it reopened very quickly.
Good.
I think it's important to get it open quickly, because once we do, the community can get back to a sense of normalcy. I think it'll be good for the community. I think it'll accelerate the recovery process. There's a lot that has to be done, but I'm impressed and very pleased with the resources that I think are going to become available through the conversations with Chip Roy, Governor Abbott's office, and others, that we will get it done quickly. Yes, sir.
Thanks, John. Good luck with it. Okay, I'm sure you will. The search for the missing is continuing, as you know, and today I especially want to thank all of these incredible people from the Coast Guard, and you'll give my regards in particular to some of the people we mentioned. Every American should be inspired by what's taken place during this short period of time, and I want to thank Governor Abbott. He's an amazing guy. We come very, very close politically and personally, and we've had a tremendous relationship with Texas. I guess Texas brought us together. We were together fine, but now we're together a lot more, and I want to thank Cecilia, your great wife, who's been our friend for a long time. The job you do is really incredible in so many different ways, including with the border and every different way. Admired by everybody. Secretaries, Kristi Noem, Brooke Rollins, Scott Turner, and Administrator Kelly Loeffler, they all wanted to be here. Some of them hopped on the plane with me. Senators John Cornyn and Ted Cruz, you're here among us. And thank you very much. Our great Lieutenant Governor, I see you sitting there. I don't know if they even have your name down, but when I'm here, your name is down, right? He's doing a good job, always did. Always did. Also, numerous members of Congress, including Chip Roy from the district. This is Chip's district. I had a lot of time last week we spent with Chip Roy getting that great, big, beautiful bill passed. And who would have thought, and he's not easy, but he's good. Where is he? Where's Chip? Who would have thought this was going to happen? And he called because we had a big ceremony set up, and he said, you know, we have a little bit of a flood here, and I think it's going to be a little bit, I better stay here. I better not come back and go to it. And he wanted to be there. He was a part of it, a big part of it. And then he called again, and he said, this is bad. And then it got really bad, far beyond your worst, wildest imagination, right? So thank you very much, Chip. I appreciate it. And Brian Babin also is, I don't know if Brian's here. But we do have, and I have to just give some of the names because it's very unusual. Nathaniel Moran, Dan Crenshaw, all of these people wanted to be here. Keith Self, Jake Elzey, August Pfluger, Craig Goldman, Ronnie Jackson. Where are you people? Are you here? You're all here? Where's Ronnie Jackson? Ronnie Jackson, what a person. Every one of these people is so incredible. Randy Weber, Pete Sessions, Tony Gonzalez. Well, we have everybody. Beth Van Dyne. Hi, Beth. Hi, Beth. Roger Williams. Brandon Gill. Hi, Roger. Brandon, you're here? Yes. Thanks, Brandon. Doing a good job, Brandon. Michael Cloud, John Carter, and Wesley Hunt. And we have others, but I'm not, we have to get on with it. But I did want to ask Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, he's been my friend from the beginning. He's been the chairman of all three of my campaigns, and all I know is we won by record amount, so I guess you were a pretty good chairman, right, Dan? And his son is fantastic, too. But Attorney General Ken Paxton, Ken's around here someplace? Hi, Ken. Hi. And Director of the Texas Department of Public Safety, Freeman Martin. Freeman, thank you very much. You're doing an amazing job. Texas Chief of Emergency Management, Nim Kidd. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for greeting us, too. Major General Thomas Seltzer of the Texas Military Department. Thomas, great job. Thank you. Really good job. And many other officials and government, everybody is here. You know, it's amazing. I do these things, and often you just don't have a turnout like this. Half of government is here, but my administration is doing everything in its power to help Texas, and I can tell you that, and the governor will be the first to tell you that when the request was made for the emergency funds, Christy, I think we gave it within about 2 minutes, maybe less, and they had everything they needed, right, immediately. So we've deployed over 400 first responders and assisted or enabled more than 1,500 rescues. Amazing, 1,500. Customs and Border Protection and the U.S. Coast Guard have deployed numerous search and rescue crews, and they're all over the territory, and trauma teams. And beyond this area, you know, the governor was saying we've gone a little bit beyond this area. Oh, there's Dr. Phil. Look at Dr. Phil. You're looking good, Phil. This is a hell of a situation, isn't it, huh? FEMA has deployed multiple emergency response units, and FEMA has been really headed by some very good people. We have some good people running FEMA. It's about time, right? We get some good ones. They failed us in North Carolina, but when we got in on January 20th, they fixed it up in no time. And the Army Corps of Engineers is always around and always strong and brilliant. We're also taking historic action to ensure that such a nightmare never happens again. We're going to look and see how can a thing like this, they could say it's 100-year. Somebody said it's a 500-year event. It doesn't. We're not going to let a thing like this happen again where it can wreak this kind of devastation. Earlier this year, I directed a sweeping review of the preparedness and critical infrastructure. I think again, I have to say, whenever I say that, I have to say that the level of professionalism was incredible. But we'll all work together to find out exactly what can be done, because they do want to rebuild, and they're going to. I just want to say we have a wonderful First Lady, and she's done a great job as First Lady, and she really, very special woman when she saw and met the people that we met just a little while ago. It's very devastating. And would you like to say a few words, honey?
My deepest sympathy to all of the parents who lost beautiful young souls. Deepest sympathy from all of us, to the community, to everybody who lost a loved one. We are grieving with you. Our nation is grieving with you. We just met with the wonderful families. We pray with them, we hug, we hold hands. They share the stories, and I met beautiful young ladies. They gave me this special bracelet from the camp in honor of all of the little girls that they lost their lives. So we are here to honor them and also to give the support, help, and I will be back. I promise to them, and I just pray for them and giving them my strength and love.
Thank you, honey. It's very nice. Thank you very much. So I just want to say God bless you all, and I'd like to ask Governor Abbott to say a few words, please. Thank you.
Well, first of all, thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, First Lady. The first thing both of you mentioned were the lives that were affected by this. Whenever there's a disaster or catastrophe, the first thing we focus on is saving lives, prioritizing those lives. Every minute, every hour counts, and that's what Chief Nim Kidd focused on, what the local officials focused on, what the state focused on, but also what your administration did. On the very day of the flood, the Coast Guard literally saving lives right and left, and we cannot thank you enough for deploying the Coast Guard, deploying the resources, and as you pointed out, immediately when I made a request for a disaster declaration, you and your administration granted that. This is the fastest that I'm aware of any administration responding so swiftly, so collaboratively, so coordinated as we have in response to this. Thank you for that major disaster declaration. It ensures that we're going to be able to more effectively respond and help rebuild. And let me make one thing clear about the Hunt store. We will rebuild the Hunt store very quickly right here in Hunt, Texas.
Thank you, Governor.
Also, I too want to thank all the first responders. And we have many of our legislators over here. I want to thank them for stepping up and being here constantly.
All right, we're going to go away from this for a couple of minutes and go to a one-on-one with our Nick Carboni. Caitlin Carr, yes, Charlotte FC's match, a huge one tomorrow. They are hunting, Jeb, for the playoffs right now, correct? And they're missing Patrick Ajiman.
Yep, it's going to be close.
Okay.
They're taking New York City FC. It's going to be a very interesting match. I'd say their two clubs are very evenly matched.
Okay.
Our Nick Carboni got a chance to speak with Caitlin Carr, who's a match analyst for MLS Season Pass on Apple TV, breaking down what we can expect from tomorrow's match.
Okay, reporter. Big home match for Charlotte FC Saturday night at the Bank, 7:30 kick against New York City FC. Joining me now to discuss that and more is Caitlin Carr, analyst for MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. Caitlin, welcome. Thank you for joining me. Before we get to the match, well, the big news here this week is Patrick Ajiman and his seemingly imminent departure now to Darby County. I guess just your perspective on Ajiman as the player in MLS and your thoughts on him joining the English Championship.
Yeah, he's a unique talent, and I can understand why all the interest would be there for him, especially after, really getting more of a bigger spotlight and a bigger platform with his time with the U.S. men's national team, which you have to remember, not that long ago, he just sort of broke through into the picture, and the new manager, Pochettino, took a clear interest in him, and anytime a manager of that profile identifies a player who up until that point had not been a part of the U.S. national team program, I would expect to see more teams, especially abroad, and from England specifically, taking a look at him. And then Dean Smith with his relationship and his time at Aston Villa and all across the Premier League and Championship. And so I just think, Ajiman, the timing feels right. Now, whether this will actually get across the line, I think it will still, from everything that is sort of swirling about. Generally, when there's smoke, there's something behind it. But yeah, it does present an interesting challenge because at MLS, it's become much a bigger part of the global conversation as far as these transfers. But from a specific team side, or if I'm a fan of Charlotte FC and I've gotten to love this player and you have these ambitions to try to go deep in the playoffs again, I think that does pose some interesting questions, especially having to potentially lose him at midway point of the season.
Okay, as you mentioned, right now the deal is not done. Patrick was visible at training on Wednesday, was not on Thursday. Dean Smith basically said he's still a member of our club and he could be available for selection Saturday. With this so close to being finished, we think, do you think Patrick could actually be on the pitch in Charlotte Saturday night?
I would be surprised, but I tell you what, I am on a flight down from New York City to Charlotte tonight, and I'm tracking every single photo that comes out of training. I'm taking a look to see who's there, who's not. But I think that is a challenge. I remember from being in a locker room when I was playing in MLS for Houston Dynamo. Had a similar moment with Jeff Cameron mid-season, who also played for the U.S. men's national team, ended up going to Stoke City. And it was a distraction. It was kind of tough because he was an important part of our team. And I'd imagine the feeling of, okay, well, who's going to start up top? I guess the one easier part is because he's been away on international duty, the team has adjusted to playing without him, but it can be a big distraction.
One more thing on this Agyemang saga, which it kind of has become this week. Dean Smith made comments yesterday that, I have been steeped in Darby County Twitter the last 24 hours, which I did not expect. I've added some things to my vocabulary. But Smith basically said that he thinks MLS and English Championship, that there's not much difference. And I know that rubbed a lot of people over there the wrong way. Does that speak to where MLS has come in the last few years? And do you view them as somewhat even leagues now?
Well, better coming from Dean Smith than myself, I think, in this case.
Yeah.
So I'll let him handle the comparison part. I don't get too caught up in that. I do feel overall, more than anything, I'd be focused on the talent coming from here and the way that MLS is developing players and more becoming a part of the global transfer market conversation. Because like I mentioned, when I played in MLS, it was not common to see guys make the jump to the national team. You had to be really, Clint Dempsey, Brian McBride, Jeff Cameron, Tim Howard. These are massive names, and they kind of went a little bit later in their careers. Agyemang's not young, but I would say from a professional standpoint, he's only been a professional for a few years now. So I think still early in his development. But overall, I do think MLS is closing the gap overall as far as developing young talent. And I think it speaks for itself when you see the types of names like Tyler Adams and Alphonso Davies, guys that have made the leap abroad and found a lot of success.
Charlotte still have Pep Biel and a wonderful season he's had. Zaha, who can be dangerous at any point in any match here down the stretch. An $8 million transfer fee coming back though ahead of this transfer window. I mean, do you think they'll be able to? How do you think they'll be able to stock the cupboard after Agyemang's departure?
Well, it'd be interesting to see how they handle that. I spoke to Dean Smith earlier today, and I asked him a similar question. And he mentioned that the window does not open until the 24th of July. So they will have to withstand without a replacement right away if this move does get across the line in these next few days. But I think they feel comfortable with Toklamati. And another young player, just 21 years old, has a lot of talent. So in some ways, I like the fact that it's a next young guy to come up, and I think that speaks to the shift in strategy that we're seeing from MLS teams. Now, that said, I don't know if you can ride just one striker at this point in the season, especially with the ambitions that this club has to, again, go into the playoffs and not just be there, but to make some noise and try to make a run at it. So I would expect them to go out and find somebody maybe a little bit more experienced and maybe even a different profile instead of the like for like with Agyemang. That's a tough sort of characteristics to find. So maybe somebody that can really combine more with Pep Biel and get the best out of him. That's where I would start is what does Pep Biel need? That I think we're at that point in Charlotte's development where he's the key, he's the straw that, stirs the drink, and then finding the right pieces to complement.
All right, a few more minutes here with Kalen Carr, analyst for MLS Season Pass on Apple TV, doing the Charlotte FC New York City FC game this weekend. Just for Charlotte, Kalen, stated goal ahead of the season, be top 4 in the East. Rose to the top of the table a few months ago and now have fallen all the way to 10th. What do you think has just not come together for this club? And there's a lot of time left on the calendar, but when does panic start to set in, you think, inside that building?
I think there's some concern for me, and I think some of it is really the way that this has gone, and I think what the strength was of this team was defensively. And then there was the question to say, okay, well, how do they get to the next level? And that was, okay, can we get the offensive piece going? Ajiman, could he take a next step in his development? And frankly, even though he's getting this move, I wouldn't say he's had the best season from his standards this year compared to what maybe the expectations were. 6 goals, I think. But Pep Biel has been that guy, and he has become, I think he should be starting in the All-Star game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he will, but he's been that good for me. But I think defensively is where the concerns are. Kalina hasn't been the same this season. He's had some off-the-field things going on that may have influenced him. But either way, defensively, this team was where they made their name. And so I think if they can get back to that and being tough to play against, to not give up goals, then you have Zaha, then you have Biel, then maybe a new signing, Toklamati, then things can get clicking. But I've been a part of teams that late in the season make a run deep. So MLS still is a league where you can get hot at the right time and go for it. We saw this with Red Bull last year, going all the way to the final. So I wouldn't write Charlotte off at all, but I do think they do need to use this transfer window to help the team.
What have you made of Zaha's 18 matches, 5 goals, 5 assists? Seems to at least be getting his footing a little bit lately. And to me, he just seems like somebody that is almost like, just wait. He can, as you mentioned, get hot here down the stretch. Do you foresee that happening, and what would need to happen for him to kind of get going a little bit more?
Yeah, I've been digging more into the film leading up to this game, and as of late, he's looked much better for me. He looks lively. I think there is an adjustment period that happens when you come to MLS, and I think it's funny to think about it, going back to our early conversation of MLS growing as a league and being maybe a little bit more difficult than people expect coming in, playing in different climates, different, a lot of travel. It can be difficult. So I think Zaha may have found a little bit of time needed to get not only adjust to his teammate, but the league overall. But he has looked much better for me, and they need him. You need designated players in this league. I know a lot of coaches try to push that aside, but that's the structure of this league. The top 3 players, you get 3 spots. You see what Inter Miami are doing. You look at Cincinnati at the top of the East with Evander and Denke spending big money. The star players have to step up, and the players around them are important as well, too. But I think they still need to get more out of Zaha, and I think he's going to get better as the season continues to go on.
All right, hey, let's talk about the match, shall we? New York City FC in town. They currently sit in a playoff spot. Charlotte needs to work its way back up the table. What are your just initial thoughts on how these two match up on the pitch tomorrow night?
Well, I think New York City will be coming in probably the more confident of the two sides, coming off a good result at home, albeit against a struggling Toronto FC team. But they have not been great on the road to begin this season. They have really struggled. So I think Charlotte are going to have to circle this one as a match that, frankly, they're right around each other in the table. Their next 4 matches, I believe, are against teams that are right at their level or just below them. So if they want to start getting back up into the playoff conversation and even closer to sniffing that top 4 places, these are matches that I think they really have to circle as targets to try to win these games. I'll be interested to see if Tim Ream comes back into the team after being gone with the U.S. men's national team. Can that experience help steady things? Tuiloma did really well in this last match. Does he keep his place? Where does he line up on the back line? But I like the way that the Charlotte team is set up. They just need to sort of get that confidence back in the group, because sometimes, the pieces can all be there, but if you're not used to winning or you don't have that sort of continuity, things can go off track. And so I think this is a game that the pressure is a little bit more on them than New York City.
Kalen Carr, analyst for MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. Thanks for joining me, Kalen. We'll let you get to that airport and get on down here to Charlotte for tomorrow night. Thank you.
Awesome. Can't wait to see this atmosphere in Peppa to start the game. I saw it once in person, but I'm ready to experience it again.
All right. Hope they can deliver again. Thanks, Kalen.
Awesome. Thanks, son.
All right, so it was great to get a little bit more insight before Charlotte FC's huge match this weekend. And, of course, they have another game next week to determine if they will make the playoffs. Right now, there is a conference called Turning Point USA ongoing. This is more of a conservative type of event that is happening at a student action summit, I do believe, in Tampa, Florida at this time. And on the screen you can see Megyn Kelly and Charlie Kirk, a man that has been talked about a lot over social media and the internet for having many different controversial views. So we'll go to this now as this is ongoing at this hour.
Figure out what they want to do with their life. Let's do a non-Epstein end to all of this.
Awesome. Be who you are. Don't pretend you're a lefty in order to win any professor's good humor. He's not worth it. Get your D on your paper because you refuse to argue that capitalism is bad, and wear it like a badge of honor. Bring it with you into your job interview. And that will make sure you align with an employer who's right for you, right? Don't say that you support Planned Parenthood the way they want you to. Don't call yourself a feminist because your teacher will give you pats on the head. Stand up for what you really believe in, and that's how we spread the good word. That's how we convert others over to where we stand, rather than just get ahead pretending we're with them, and then only once we have power tell our true feelings. It's not worth it. Anybody who came to me with a crappy GPA from one of these elite universities and then showed me all their papers that spoke up for conservatism and America and God, faith, I would hire them in an instant over somebody who emerged with a perfect GPA, who went along to get along. That's not a leader. That's a sheep. Don't be like that. Stand up for your beliefs now when it matters.
Megyn, you are amazing. God bless you. And Turning Point USA thanks you.
Thank you so much,
Megyn
you guys.
Kelly.
It's great to be with you.
This is our government. It belongs to all of us. That's what democracy is. And they've spent 50 years trying to convince us that masculinity is dangerous, and so we live in a world with very little of it. And the society's become much more violent.
The more you tell the truth, the stronger you become. But the era of no debate, shut up and obey, surf is over. Do not accept any attempt to take away your birthright, something that God gave you and the government's job is to protect, which is your absolute right to say what you think is true, period. And to me, that is liberation. It's the freedom to say what's obviously true as a free man and not a slave.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tucker Oh my God! Thank you! I never miss a Charlie Kirk event because I love Charlie Kirk and I know Charlie Kirk very well. But I always forget what the walkout is like, and I feel like I'm gonna have a seizure. It's like free. Anyway, thank you so much for having me. This is more people in one place than I've seen since the last Charlie Kirk event I was at, so it's hilarious. So I noticed everyone's been talking about Epstein tonight, and I want to kind of differ from the crowd a little bit in saying that I watched Ben Shapiro yesterday, and no, before you boo me, I thought he made a really solid point. He's like, it happened a long time ago. Who cares? And by the way, we should trust the government and whatever the bureaucrats tell us. And by the way, it's wrong to ask a lot of unauthorized questions. So I just want to go on the record to say I think that's absurd. And it's exactly the kind of thinking that I personally voted against in the last election. In the last election, I spent a lot of the month of October campaigning with and for the president. I voted for the president. I never vote for anybody generally. I know they're always telling you, you must vote or you can't have an opinion. Oh, shut up. I don't like to vote, but I did vote this time. And I don't like to vote because I don't believe in any of them. And this time I really felt like I know Trump well. I love Trump personally. And what we were looking at was just so awful and totalitarian and stupid. And it wasn't even the arguments that I disagreed with from the Kamala Harris. It's weird to even say her name now. Who was that exactly? It was like a bad dream. But it wasn't even so much the arguments I disagreed with, though I definitely disagreed with the arguments. It was the style of argument that drove me completely bonkers, summarized most crisply by shut up racist. Whatever you said, it was shut up racist. And it's like, but wait, first of all, I'm not a racist, but that's not even the point. The point is, I just told you what I think. I just asked you an entirely legitimate question, mostly, what the hell are you doing? And rather than answer it, you didn't pay me the respect that you would a human being. You treated me like a slave or an animal by telling me to stop barking. Shut up, racist. And I won't put up with that because I'm not a slave or an animal. I'm an American citizen, an adult man who pays his taxes. So, I ask people questions for a living, and very often I get answers that I don't care for, that I disagree with, that I think are stupid, but at least they're answers. At least the person responding is treating me like a human being with a soul created in the image of the Creator. He's paying me the respect that every human being is due. When you ask a direct question to someone in charge, you are due. That person is morally bound to give you an answer. He's not bound to agree with you, but he's bound to stop and answer your question. And the left never did that. They would dismiss you out of hand. You are not worth listening to. Be quiet. And that's, of course, where the impulse to censorship comes from. It comes from the belief that you don't deserve to speak because you're not fully human. They own you. And that's what I voted against above all. I voted against a million different things that I hated about the last administration. Their insane desire to start pointless wars around the world. Their total unwillingness to protect this country domestically, to protect the people who live here, to protect the territorial integrity of the country, bringing in tens of millions of people illegally, giving them free stuff the second they get here, making a mockery of citizenship. I hated all of that. I hated all of that. But the thing I hated most was their total unwillingness to answer any question about why they were doing what they were doing, because it was just too insulting. And every single time I would just feel like raising the middle finger and screaming obscenities, which is not an adult response, I'll concede, but that's how I felt. And I think that's really at the heart of why the Epstein thing is so distressing. I mean, the guy was some weird sex freak who was abused.
All right, we're going to leave the Turning Point USA Student Action Summit. We actually just had a discussion with Dr. Pyle Coley from Colorado about some of the measles cases that we're seeing both in North and South Carolina, I believe a case in each state. Talking to her a little bit about what folks should be aware of if they aren't vaccinated, or maybe if they are vaccinated, including what symptoms you should be looking out for and when you need to go to a hospital when you start to see some of those symptoms. All good information as we start to see some of these cases rise.
Dr. Coley, if I can get you just to say your first and last name for us and your title.
Dr. Pyle Coley, Payal Kohli, and I guess you can call me the WCNC medical expert, because like usually the KUSA medical or 9 News.
Yeah, perfect. We'll use you as our expert if you're fine with that. And then I know you're highly regarded. You speak many times. Your background is a cardiologist, but I know you're also an MD.
Yeah, so I'm an internist and cardiologist.
Okay, perfect.
Internal medicine as well.
Okay, I'll add that for sure. So let's talk about the measles.
I'm sorry, since you're in North Carolina, I have a professor at Duke as well, Duke University and Johns Hopkins University too.
Wow.
So if you want, I can send you my full title, but I don't know if you want to allude to that just because you guys are in North Carolina.
Yeah, I definitely will. That'd be great. That'd be great.
So I'll send it to you right after we're done here.
Perfect. Awesome. So let's jump in. The measles, we have, I think, 1 case in North Carolina, 1 case in South Carolina right now. So a lot of the questioning that folks are asking us is, should they be worried? And I know a lot of times those are vaccinated. There are some cases sometimes that people still get the measles, but it seems like the big discussion here is about getting vaccinated and really watching where this disease is spreading, right? Can I start there?
For sure. So as a physician, I have never actually seen a case of measles because it was eradicated in the United States in the year 2000. But now, obviously, given the findings of the last year, we're starting as physicians to become reacclimated with the disease. And essentially, measles is really high risk for unvaccinated individuals. But it's really important to know that you have proof of vaccination and know that you got the right type of vaccine, because now that measles is all around us, it's one of the most contagious illnesses in medicine. In fact, arguably the most contagious illness in medicine. So it's really important because it spreads so efficiently to make sure that you're protected by having your vaccination status checked or renewed if you haven't had a vaccine recently.
And I don't want to be a fearmonger here, but it is a dangerous disease too. Can we talk about that?
Measles can be very dangerous for a number of reasons. One, because I talked about just how contagious it is. So an average person that gets measles spreads it to about 12 to 16 other people. So very good exponential growth there. It also can linger in the air for up to 2 hours. So you don't even have to come into direct contact with somebody. It's an airborne disease that can linger in the air and cause infection. And about 1 in 10 to 1 in 20 people, especially kids, immunocompromised and pregnant patients, will get life-threatening complications. You're talking about brain swelling like encephalitis, deafness, blindness, seizures. And for a lot of people that recover from measles, it can even cause consequences afterwards. So it wipes out your immune system, so you become more prone to other infections. And many years after the measles, you can actually have something called subacute sclerosing panencephalitis, which is a brain fibrosing condition where you get scarring in the brain as a result of that measles. So it's not just a rash, it's not just a cold, it's actually a pretty significant illness, which is why prevention is key, because we have a highly effective vaccine.
Let's talk about vaccines really quickly. I've heard MMRV vaccine sometimes recommended. MMR vaccine might be recommended. Dispel any myths between the two, and what might the chosen vaccine be for those physicians that people see?
So most adults will get the MMR vaccine, measles, mumps, and rubella. And that's usually given at 2 doses around age 1 and then around age 4 to 6. And if you get 1 dose, it's 93% effective. If you get 2 doses, it's 97% effective. And it essentially offers lifelong immunity. So once you get the vaccine, you can be sort of done with thinking about your immunity. Alternatively, if you're born before 1956, because measles was endemic here in the United States, you probably have natural immunity. So the people that need to be concerned are the ones that are born after 1956 and don't have documentation of the MMR. Now, in the 1960s in the United States, they were using a different vaccine, a different measles vaccine that's not as effective. So make sure you look back in your records and check whether you got at least 2 doses of that MMR. And if not, as an adult, you can go get an additional dose. In fact, additional doses are recommended now that there's so much measles around us for people who are high risk for exposure, like college students, like healthcare workers, people who work in hospitals that have cases with measles and such. That's the MMR vaccine. The MMRV is measles, mumps, rubella with varicella, which is the chickenpox vaccine. That's usually given to the kids, but the first time you get the MMRV, it puts you at higher risk for having a seizure because now you've got too much immune activation going on. So usually pediatricians recommend MMR separate from the V for the first dose for kids. And then when they're getting that second shot between age 4 and 6, they can actually get that MMRV. Most adults have already had varicella or chickenpox, or they've already been vaccinated, so they probably wouldn't get that MMRV.
Okay. Great stuff to know. So I have a 7-month-old, right? She has not been vaccinated yet with the MMR vaccine. And obviously with the cases that we're seeing, or a case, we have talked to our physicians about what should we do, right? So what would be in your best interest or in your best advice for folks that are in my type of predicament where they have a young child who's around that 1-year-old age? What should we be doing?
So, if they're 1 year old, they can go ahead and get that first dose because that's at 12 to 14 months. But if they're in that window of the 6 months to 12 months where they're a little too young to get it, this is the decision tree. So if you're taking them to an area or you're traveling or there might have been an exposure or what have you, then it's probably okay to give it to them a little early. The reason that we don't want to give it too early is because number one, the immune system is not mature. So it's not going to react normally to the vaccine itself. And number two, that compromises both the efficacy and the safety of the vaccine. So in that 6 to 12 month window, it's really a personalized decision with your pediatrician. If you're traveling, you think you might have a child who's exposed, or you live in an area where there have been documented measles cases, you may want to go ahead and pull the trigger. But that doesn't mean you're not going to get that 1-year one. So if you give it to them early, make sure that they still get that MMR dose at 1 year, because you're essentially just giving them one extra dose. It's not necessarily starting their cycle a little bit early.
Okay, great advice there. So in the event that someone, either is around someone with measles or may think that they have been around somebody with measles, what should they do? And when would be the time to go to a hospital if they start to see some symptoms?
Yeah, so this is really key information that every one of us needs to know now that measles is here in our state. So the first thing is, if you think you've been exposed to someone, you sit down and say, do I have immunity? And that means, have I received at least 2 doses of that MMR vaccine? Or do I have a blood test, which is called a titer, an antibody test, that you can actually get checked at the lab that tells you how many antibodies you have against measles, mumps, and rubella. So I actually had mine checked recently because I'm a healthcare worker. Mine were low, so I ended up getting an additional dose of the MMR vaccine. So either a blood test confirming immunity, or you've had measles before, or you've had 2 doses of the MMR. If that's the case, you just need to monitor for symptoms for the next 21 days, and we can talk about that, what that would look like. If you are not sure that you've had 2 doses of the MMR or you're immune, then it's really important to call your doctor right away, because within those first few days of exposure, they would probably give you a dose of the MMR vaccine to protect you. And if you're a young baby, immunocompromised or pregnant, they may even give you something called IVIG, which are antibodies against the measles virus that they would inject into you so that you can actually sop up the virus and prevent the infection before it happens. That's called post-exposure prophylaxis. So after you get exposed, you prevent the virus from sort of taking hold. That has to happen within the first few days in order for it to be effective. So really important to call your doctor right away. If you do develop signs of measles, you'll usually see symptoms within 1 to 2 weeks following exposure, but it can go out up to 3 weeks. And you'll get the 3 C's. So cough, you get a cough, conjunctivitis, a red eye, and coryza, which is a fancy way of saying runny nose. And those are the 3 C's. So it feels like a head cold almost. You have a cough, you have a runny nose, you have red eyes. What's different is a few days into your illness, you'll start to have some spots in your mouth. Those are called Koplik spots. And then a couple of days after that, you'll start to develop a rash, which is very classic for measles. It starts up near your hairline and kind of goes downwards, involving your trunk and your arms and your legs. So if you start to develop those Koplik spots and rash, it's pretty clear you have measles. You want to isolate, not go to work, not go to daycare, because again, it's a very infectious illness. Stay away from anyone who's immunocompromised or pregnant. If you start to have severe symptoms like a very high fever, extreme nausea, vomiting, inability to keep any food down, or you have any kind of confusion or lethargy, or you end up having a seizure, these are all signs you need to go to the emergency room right away. Now, some groups are very high risk, like kids under 1, immunocompromised patients, and pregnant patients. So I would say if you're one of those groups, you want to contact your doctor right away. Before you go to any emergency room, it's really, really important to call ahead, because the last thing you want to do is show up in a waiting room full of people with an active case of measles, because again, it's so highly infectious.
Perfect. Last thing, and I'll ask you if I missed anything, but we have gotten some emails about how this could affect Medicaid, and I have no idea because I'm not an expert, but have there been any murmurs? I know that this big, beautiful bill just got passed last week, but does that, to you, seem to draw any type of challenges or any road bumps in the future ahead to try and get people vaccinated?
I would say as Medicaid funding gets cut, it's going to affect hospitals and infrastructures, especially for low-income people, which are higher risk, obviously, depending on where they've traveled to and such for getting measles. So I think it may put us at risk for containing pandemics. It may also put us at risk for not having effective prevention and vaccination strategies, because people may think, well, if they're uninsured, they can't get a vaccine. Now, I'm hoping that the state health programs, the Department of Public Health of each state, steps up and offers free vaccination clinics. I know we do here in Colorado. We have a free vaccination clinic for the MMR vaccine. So hopefully that won't be a barrier, but it's really important. If somebody loses Medicaid, they don't have good access to healthcare system, to the resources, to the education. They may not, A, know about prevention, B, know about treatment, and C, they may end up not seeking care and actually spreading the virus more effectively because they're not, within an institution. So I have concerns that this is not the best time, given that we're at the highest number of measles cases the United States has ever seen, to cut off resources. But having said that, I'm hoping that the public health departments do continue the educational campaigns to try to raise awareness of prevention and treatment strategies.
Well said. Dr. Coley, what else have I missed that maybe comes to mind for you to let our viewership know?
Having a vaccine that's 97% effective and a disease that's so highly contagious in 2025, no one should be getting measles. And the fact that it's come here has really been a combination of dropping rates of vaccine. People aren't getting vaccinated. And in order to get herd immunity, which means you're part of a group that is vaccinated, so you're protected just by being part of a vaccinated group, 95% of people have to be vaccinated against the measles. And we've seen rates now in schools and daycares and such going down into the low 90s, which is why the virus has got on a plane and come here, because it's endemic in other parts of the world. And we travel all over the world in the United States here. And so it's really gotten on a plane and come here. So I'm hoping that with more education, more vaccination, we can try to contain these outbreaks and go back to that stage where the virus was eradicated, because it's a very serious illness that is highly preventable. So I would encourage every single person to get their blood test checked and check if they have the titers, if they don't know what their vaccination history is, or if they're high risk for exposure, traveling somewhere where there's measles outbreaks right now, that they go ahead and get another dose of that MMR vaccine.
Awesome. Dr. Coley, thank you. Let me stop this recording.
All right, so great to have Dr. Coley. We will actually be having her every Friday at around 7 o'clock to discuss that day's or that week's health topics, to get you the latest information, everything that you should know from that expert. So again, great to have her on. We do want to go back to the president, who is on the ground in Texas seeing some damage from the flooding just this week.
And he's a great engineer, and those walls are still standing.
Save the walls.
Save the walls.
Okay.
And the goal is, and I think we can get it done between Haley, BB, myself, and some outside help that we're going to be getting. I think we're going to get it reopened very quickly.
Good.
I think it's important to get it open quickly, because once we do, the community can get back to a sense of normalcy. I think it'll be good for the community. I think it'll accelerate the recovery process. There's a lot that has to be done, but I'm impressed and very pleased with the resources that I think are going to become available through the conversations with Chip Roy, Governor Abbott's office, and others. Good. That we will get it done quickly. Yes, sir.
Thanks, John. Good luck with it. Okay, I'm sure you will. The search for the missing is continuing, as you know, and today I especially want to thank all of these incredible people from the Coast Guard, and you'll give my regards in particular to some of the people we mentioned. Every American should be inspired by what's taken place during this short period of time, and I want to thank Governor Abbott. He's an amazing guy. We come very, very close politically and personally, and we've had a tremendous relationship with Texas. I guess Texas brought us together. We were together fine, but now we're together a lot more. And I want to thank Cecilia, your great wife, who's been our friend for a long time. The job you do is really incredible in so many different ways, including with the border and every different way. Admired by everybody. Secretaries, Christine, Brooke Rollins, Scott Turner, and Administrator Kelly Loeffler, they all wanted to be here. Some of them hopped on the plane with me. Senators John Cornyn and Ted Cruz, you're here, we're among us. And thank you very much. Our great Lieutenant Governor, I see you sitting there. I don't know if they even have your name down, but when I'm here, your name is down, right? He's doing a good job, always did. Always did. Also, numerous members of Congress, including Chip Roy from the district. This is Chip's district. I had a lot of time last week we spent with Chip Roy getting that great, big, beautiful bill passed. And who would have thought, and he's not easy, but he's good. Where is he? Where's Chip? Who would have thought this was going to happen? And he called because we had a big ceremony set up, and he said, you know, we have a little bit of a flood here, and I think it's going to be a little bit, I better stay here. I better not come back and go to it. And he wanted to be there. He was a part of it, a big part of it. And then he called again, and he said, this is bad. And then it got really bad, far beyond your worst, wildest imagination, right? So thank you very much, Chip. I appreciate it. And Brian Babin also is, I don't know if Brian's here. But we do have, and I have to just give some of the names because it's very unusual. Nathaniel Moran, Dan Crenshaw, all of these people wanted to be here. Keith Self, Jake Elzey, August Pfluger, Greg Goldman, Ronnie Jackson. Where are you people? Are you here? You're all here? Where's Ronnie Jackson? Ronnie Jackson, what a person. Every one of these people is so incredible. Randy Weber, Pete Sessions, Tony Gonzalez. Well, we have everybody. Beth Van Dyne. Hi, Beth. Hi, Beth. Roger Williams. Brandon Gill. Hi, Roger. Brandon, you're here? Yes. Thanks, Brandon. Doing a good job, Brandon. Michael Cloud, John Carter, and Wesley Hunt. And we have others, but I'm not, we have to get on with it. But I did want to ask Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. He's been my friend from the beginning. He's been the chairman of all three of my campaigns, and all I know is we won by record amounts, so I guess you were a pretty good chairman, right, Dan? And his son is fantastic, too. But Attorney General Ken Paxton. Ken's around here someplace. Hi, Ken. Hi. And Director of the Texas Department of Public Safety, Freeman Martin. Freeman, thank you very much. You're doing an amazing job. Texas Chief of Emergency Management, Nim Kidd. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for greeting us, too. Major General Thomas Seltzer of the Texas Military Department. Thomas, great job. Thank you. Really good job. And many other officials and government, everybody is here. You know, it's amazing. I do these things, and often you just don't have a turnout like this. Half of government is here, but my administration is doing everything in its power to help Texas, and I can tell you that and the governor will be the first to tell you that when the request was made for the emergency funds, Christie, I think we gave it within about 2 minutes, maybe less, and they had everything they needed, right, immediately. So we've deployed over 400 first responders and assisted or enabled more than 1,500 rescues. Amazing, 1,500. Customs and Border Protection and the U.S. Coast Guard have deployed numerous search and rescue crews, and they're all over the territory, and trauma teams. And beyond this area, you know, the governor was saying we've gone a little bit beyond this area. Oh, there's Dr. Phil. Look at Dr. Phil. You're looking good, Phil. This is a hell of a situation, isn't it, huh? FEMA has deployed multiple emergency response units, and FEMA has been really headed by some very good people. We have some good people running FEMA. It's about time, right? We get some good ones. They failed us in North Carolina, but when we got in on January 20th, they fixed it up in no time. And the Army Corps of Engineers is always around and always strong and brilliant. We're also taking historic action to ensure that such a nightmare never happens again. And we're going to look and see how can a thing like this, they could say it's 100-year. Somebody said it's a 500-year event. It doesn't. We're not going to let a thing like this happen again where it can wreak this kind of devastation. Earlier this year, I directed a sweeping review of the preparedness and critical infrastructure. I think, again, I have to say, whenever I say that, I have to say that the level of professionalism was incredible. but we'll all work together to find out exactly what can be done, because they do want to rebuild, and they're going to. I just want to say we have a wonderful First Lady, and she's done a great job as First Lady, and she really very special woman when she saw what and met the people that we met just a little while ago. It's very devastating. And would you like to say a few words, honey?
My deepest sympathy to all of the parents who lost beautiful young souls. Deepest sympathy from all of us to the community, to everybody who lost a loved one. We are grieving with you. Our nation is grieving with you. We just met with the wonderful families. We pray with them, we hug, we hold hands. They share the stories, and I met beautiful young ladies. They gave me this special bracelet from the camp in honor of all of the little girls that they lost their lives. So we are here to honor them and also to give the support, help, and I will be back. I promise to them, and I just pray for them and giving them my strength and love.
Thank you, honey. It's very nice. Thank you very much. So I just want to say God bless you all, and I'd like to ask Governor Abbott to say a few words, please. Thank you.
Well, first of all, thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, First Lady. The first thing both of you mentioned were the lives that were affected by this. Whenever there's a disaster or catastrophe, the first thing we focus on is saving lives, prioritizing those lives. Every minute, every hour counts, and that's what Chief Nim Kidd focused on, what the local officials focused on, what the state focused on, but also what your administration did. On the very day of the flood, you know, the Coast Guard literally saving lives right and left, and we cannot thank you enough for deploying the Coast Guard, deploying the resources, and as you pointed out, immediately, when I made a request for a disaster declaration, you and your administration granted that. This is the fastest that I'm aware of any administration responding so swiftly, so collaboratively, so coordinated as we have in response to this. Thank you for that major disaster declaration. It ensures that we're going to be able to more effectively respond and help rebuild. And let me make one thing clear about the Hunt store. We will rebuild the Hunt store very quickly right here in Hunt, Texas.
Thank you, Governor.
Also, I too want to thank all the first responders, and we have many of our legislators over here. I want to thank them for stepping up and being here constantly, as well as state officials who join with us. And as we've said before, we remain committed. We're here for the long run. We will maintain our operations to search and find everybody that we can, as well as ensure that we're going to rebuild this community from Hunt to Camp Mystic to Kerrville down below. We are committed for the long run, not just to rebuild, but to rebuild in a better way. I have received a lot of detail, even from the President himself, about ways that we can do a better job in the rebuilding process, and we will put all of that to work. We have a special session beginning in 10 days when we're going to start working legislatively to make sure that we address every challenge that the people of this entire region, including the Central Texas region, make sure we help rebuild the families and communities of all of them. But we would not have been able to do that the way that we have had it not been for you, your commitment to Texas. I know you love Texas, and Texas loves you. We appreciate you showing up, and because of your swift and effective response, we're better positioned to deliver on all those commitments than ever before.
Thank you, Governor. That's very nice. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Christy, would you like to say something? Fantastic job you've done.
Well, Mr. President, I just want to thank you for coming and being here today, and to our First Lady as well. Your heart is evident for the people of Texas, and by you coming here and spending the day and taking the time to spend so much time with the families, I've spoken with many of them over the last several days, and they're so grateful for you that not only are you here to come and walk alongside of them, but to spend time with them and to deploy resources to help support the governor and his team, I think has meant the world, not just to those that are making the decisions, but to all of those down to the ones who have lost their children and are those who are still looking for their children. So that's the hardest part about the situation we have here today, sir, is that when you have a disaster like this, I believe this is an unprecedented event. I haven't heard in my knowledge, know of a flood that happened like this before. So, you know, in our experience, we know that it's at least a 1 in 1,000 year flood that hit this area in an unprecedented way. And emergencies and disasters are always locally executed. The state manages them, and then the federal government comes in and supports that. What we are doing here, sir, is empowering the state and the local officials to make the best decisions for their people, because they know their people, they know their community, and when they ask, then we come in and support them. So thank you for being a president who trusts people, who lets them use the responsibility that they have to make the best decisions for their families, for their communities, and we come in and we support them in that. So I can't thank you for helping us making such quick decisions, for Nim and his team, and the governor is absolutely fantastic. Every time I picked up the phone and was here, the lieutenant governor was available, the entire team, the Coast Guard and the Border Patrol were absolute amazing resources on the ground immediately, and we've had over 700 different FEMA employees and volunteers here as well that are engaged, and so all of your assets that you have as a federal government are deployed to help this community restore, but also to heal. I would just ask everybody in the room to remember to love on each other too, and to tell stories and memories, and that's how the greatest fear when you lose someone in your life is that people will forget them. So tell the stories that you knew and write them down and remember them, because nobody wants their loved one that they don't have anymore to ever be forgotten.
Thanks, Christy. Appreciate it. Nim, would you say a few words, please? You've done a fantastic job working with Christy and everybody else. Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you both for being here. Our hearts are broken, but they fuel the engine that drives this response for this community. These local first responders are the best in the nation. They put their lives on the line. Our volunteer firefighters that were out there putting their lives on the line, knowing that their homes were at risk. You have the best in the nation right here at the local level. Governor Abbott declared 21 Texas counties for this weather event under a state of disaster declaration. Your immediate declaration for individual assistance and public assistance will help us rebuild and recover. We've had over 2,200 state agency response personnel assisting our local government partners. But Mr. President, here's a staggering number. Over 12,300 volunteers have shown up here out of love to support this community. Just imagine, working 10 hours a day, 7 days into this event right now, that's over 861,000 hours of volunteer support right here. 19 other states have sent resources to us. Secretary Noem, thank you for the coordination and the effort on that. Your team has been phenomenal. We will continue the search nonstop. We will continue debris removal, and we will help this community rebuild. We're ready, sir.
Thank you for a really great job you've done, and the coordination's been incredible with us and everybody else. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Dr. Phil, I see you sitting there, and this might be a time for you to give us some of your words of wisdom, if you would. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I've talked to families and survivors, parents and grandparents, and the truth is we know psychologically that the #1 stressor that we can experience in life is the loss of a child. And the worst situation that we can experience that is when it's sudden and when it's violent. That's the worst thing that can happen stress-wise in life. And you know, it's people say, well, you know, you get over it in time. You will. The truth is, you never get over it. You get through it. And one of the things Secretary Noem was just talking about, no truer words could be said, that it's cathartic to talk about this. And there's a collective consciousness in these communities down here. This is my country here. Texas is home for me. And, and there's a collective consciousness here. And everybody in these communities suffered this loss at some level. And so everybody shares that. And so everybody shares the healing. And that will come through here. Everybody will rally together. And this is about faith, and it's about family, and it's truly about community. And it says Texas Strong on the front of on the desk that you're sitting at, and that's true, because people will come together. And we need to realize that giving this a voice, and if you see someone in the store, everybody wonders, do I say something to them? I know they lost a child or a grandchild. Do I bring it up, or because they look like they're doing okay? The answer to that question is an unambiguous yes. You don't ever let them think you've moved on from it. It's okay to go and say, hey, look, I know about the loss. I share that with you, and I love you. And we won't forget this, because these bright lights will go away. Another headline will come along, and people move on. Let them know we don't forget. We don't forget the loss. It will never go away, and we remember it. And these first responders down here, men and women that were diving into those waters. I've talked to a woman whose husband was standing on the bank of the river yelling to a father, throw me your baby, throw me your baby, let me help you. Mr. President, there is a depth of root and caring here like you just can't believe until you see it. And everybody here knows that. And it's so inspiring for you and the First Lady to come here and share this and see the fiber of these communities. That's why they rally around you and everything that you stand for here, from the border to the disasters. And it's not just a photo op for you to be here. People see your heart and believe in what you stand for. And God bless you for coming here and doing this. It means a lot. God bless you.
Thank you. That was really beautiful. I'm glad I asked him to say a few words, Dan. Do you want to say a couple of words, Dan? Please, Lieutenant Governor.
We spoke the morning immediately. You and I talked the very next morning, and he was right there.
First of all, Mr. President, First Lady, a long time ago, I asked a pastor when I was going to see a hospital, a person in the hospital who didn't have long to live, and I said, what do I say? And they said, don't worry about what you say, just be there. So you and Madam First Lady, the two of you being here, sends a message. It paints a picture that words can't express, and it gives them hope. And the people of this community have become a family. I didn't know the mayor last week. I wish I didn't know him today under these circumstances. But we've become a family around this room, and it starts with you at the top, down to the governor, down to the statewide, down to the secretary. I mean, Christy Nome coming in, she called Saturday morning and said, the president wants me to be there today. And she came. And so that message is so important. Two things will get us through: our faith, so the people along this river are not standing on the rock of the bank of the river. They're standing on the rock of their faith. And that will get them through the struggles that you talk about. But you and the federal government will help us get through everything, all the debris that has to be taken, all the rebuilding. And I know we can count on you. So from the bottom of my heart, on behalf of all of these families, thank you for being here. You just can't measure how much it means to them.
Thank you very much, Dan. Great job. Appreciate it. Do you want to take a couple of questions, Governor? Would you want to do that? Do you want to?
Sure.
Is the press going to be respectful of this event, this horrible event, this horrible tragedy? Please, yes. Go ahead, please.
Marissa Haas here with CBS News Texas. Several families we've heard from are obviously upset because they say that those warnings, those alerts didn't go out in time, and they also say that people could have been saved. What do you say to those families?
Well, I think everyone did an incredible job under the circumstances. This was, I guess Christy said, a 1 in 500, 1 in 1,000 years. And I just have admiration for the job that everybody did. There was just admiration. The only bad person would ask a question like that, to be honest with you. I don't know who you are, but only a very evil person would ask a question like that. I think this has been heroism. This has been incredible, really, the job you've all done. It's easy to sit back and say, oh, what?
All right, so we're going to cut away from this as we are about to dump away from our WCNC Plus Impact stream here. But don't forget our 11 o'clock news show. Of course, we'll have everything on the latest, including the weather forecast for your weekend. We'll see you then. Thanks for joining us tonight.